This podcast has been brought to you by the wonderful people at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Thanks for their patronage, this podcast was possible, as well as most of the other podcasts on the Duckfeed.tv network. Go check it out, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Just a couple of bucks a month, and we'll get you access to early feeds, we'll get you access to the cool, hip, happening Slack, and also, fund your boys, what you want to do. Enjoy the episode.
You like it, Chef?
I have no choice.
You like it, Chef?
I have no choice.
You like it, Chef?
I have no choice.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, and this week we're covering X-Men, the animated series, Season 3. We're continuing our Phoenix Saga. Gary, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay.
I'm doing pretty good as well. Having a great time recording 5 episodes at once just to completely spoil this illusion.
Yeah, and we're 2 weeks ahead, and like this out of all the shows I do, this is definitely the most haphazard and weird in the order and what order they get released and recorded in, and like how far ahead and stuff we get, which is cool. It works, but there's no relation to this and when it comes out. So like we will probably make this happens to me all the time anyway, but it happens a lot with this show where like I'll make some kind of joke or say something, or you'll make some kind of joke or say something, and then someone will tweet me that joke. But for me, it's 7 weeks after. And I was just like, I assume this is a nice thing, and I just kind of know from context, but I don't remember actually doing it because it's been so long.
Yeah, I've actually had to listen to the episode before, and to go like, what did I don't remember saying this one particular, like, Gambit has a weird dick joke, but I'm sure I did. Like, it sounds like me.
It sounds like something I'd say. Yeah, it sounds like something that'd be Gambit's.
We're continuing our Phoenix Saga. We're covering 2 episodes, episode 6 and 7, and we're gonna finish turning Jean Grey into a giant cosmic entity, which is really fun.
Yeah, and don't worry, I think after this, the first couple of episodes are Savage Land, Savage Heart, so we got that to look forward to, and we get a cameo from Minari in these. So if you're, yay! I mean, there are things in season 3 that I think that we're gonna that are good still, because the Dark Phoenix Saga is cool, if I recall. And I love Dazzler, like I love the Hellfire Club, like I'm way looking forward to getting into that. But this season so far has been a little bit of a mixed bag. I think the last 3 episodes were super fun. These 2 are a little bit stronger. The first 2 episodes of the season were abysmal. So it's a real mixed bag so far.
So yeah.
So this one we're going to go ahead and get started here with XM306, the Phoenix Saga Part 4, the Starjammers. Original air date September 8th, my birthday, 1994. I was 14 when this came out. Jean Grey, using the Phoenix's powers, transports all the X-Men to Lilandra's ship, where the Empress has hidden the Macran crystal. While there, a group of superpowered beings named the Starjammers attack and steal the Macran crystal in order to use it to get close enough to Dakan to assassinate him. When the Starjammers set their plan into motion, Dakan gains possession of the crystal and unleashes its terrible power.
Oh, man. The more I get away, the more apostrophes you put in the names of things, like the more I just check out.
Macran, Dakan. There's a character in this episode called Chode, but they just pronounce it as Chode. They just say Chode, which like I'm really glad that this came out, and I can know exactly how old I am when this came out, because to me and my friends, the character Chode was the height of comedy.
Well, of course it was. It was Chode.
No. Yeah, his name is Chode, which is that little space. It's your grundle pack. Like it's that little nugget that you have between your ball sack and your butthole. And that's what the Starjammer is named after. Yep. Anyway, let's we're picking up.
I was gonna let you go for that one for a while.
No, it's okay. I just in case anybody didn't know. I mean, it's Chode and Grundle show up in the searches for Bonfireside Chat. We'll make it show up in the searches for this as well.
Oh yeah, I was actually looking through reviews for Bonfireside Chat, and someone complained about like that you said that wrong, so the Grundle joke didn't work, and I'm like, come on, guy, like you felt the need to write that on a fucking. You have to log in to leave an iTunes review. You had to like log in, type in your password, and type all that out. Like what? Why would you do that?
Yeah. the every once in a while, like on all the shows, I mean, most of the reviews are good, and then. But some of them are bad, and I'll look at like the most critical ones or the most negative ones, and sometimes like they're good. like, or they're like reasonable critiques. Like it's just like, okay, the show is clearly not for you. And then sometimes they're weird vengeancey things, like they're result of talking about social justice and stuff like that. And sometimes they're just like why was this worth writing? It's something like that where it's like, this isn't helpful.
Yeah.
Especially the ones, and they're only there's one of them for each of us, so it's even. But on one of the shows, I'm not going to go say what they are because people will search them out. But there's one review of a show specifically calling out Cole as sucking and me being good, and then there's another review of another show calling out me as sucking and Cole being good. And like every time, I never like downrate reviews of our own shows because it feels like cheating. But the way that the iTunes interface makes it says is like, is this review helpful? And I'm like, no.
No, it's 100%
So I
not.
will say that, like, it's like, that's not a helpful critique. Like, okay, I guess we'll ditch you. We'll go on to make our solo projects, and you can listen to Imagine, and I'll listen to Band on the Run, and we can go our separate ways. Like, it's
you just really want those you really want those two people to meet and then convince the other one that the other one is wrong, and then live happily ever after. Like, this is gonna be their romantic love story.
Or convince each other that the other one is right, and then just stop listening, which would also be okay. But like, the
as
idea
long as they
that
don't leave the iTunes review telling you the fucking story, it's fine.
And even then, again, it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things, but it's such a weird specific thing that there's no way to react to. Like, I don't know if the idea is that I'm going to be like, you know what, like, yeah, Cole sucks. It's like obviously, like, it's like one of my best friends, and we've been doing this for like 6 years. Like, it doesn't, or vice versa. It's not like Cole's gonna, there's not a network without both of us. So it is it's a weird thing to see, and the very definition of not helpful when on iTunes are not helpful.
Not helpful. They make you feel good or they make you feel bad, but they're not helping anything.
Yeah, it's not. This is not actionable, friends.
By the way, if you have time, leave us an iTunes review.
Yeah, it's true, and don't say which one is your favorite.
Yeah.
Also, that's such a mean thing to do to people, where you like start playing them against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's such a like a weird playground thing to do. Like, it's funny because me and Cole are both insecure in similar ways. So like, when things like that, when there are ways in which people could like fight us like Bakugans, we steer away from it. Like, we've had ideas. I don't want to even go into them because I don't want people to suggest that we do them. We've had ideas for like goofy things or promotions or things like that might have an element where somebody could like play favorites, and we always stop doing it because we know that it would make the other person feel shitty, because we're both fairly secure, but also nobody wants to be told like you're the lesser than of two people.
Yeah.
It's too specific. Like, someone can say you suck, and that's fine, but saying you suck more than X is like way worse. If you have an external like kind of locus of comparison, I think. Anyway,
I'm definitely taller than you. So
yeah, it's surprising, but you're definitely taller than me. So if you want to write in a review of this show that just talks about which host is taller,
yes,
like, I will not have my feelings hurt by that.
Empirical facts. That's what we're looking for, is nothing but facts on your opinion based.
I'm working on it. Like, I will see what I can't do to be taller than you by the next time I see you.
Well, I mean, you're like a month or two older than me, so like, you're gonna be stooped and like bent over before long. Like, you have no hope of catching up with me.
That is very optimistic in terms of my posture, as if it's not gonna crumble like a fucking question mark.
You're gonna be staring at your belly button by 2020, Gary. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's I will have to use a special chair.
Well, this podcast is really turning into Jeremy and Gary, the old guys. So let's move into some animated cartoon series that we watched when we were 13.
Let's not be old guys while talking about 90s nostalgia and space birds.
I've got my jabots on and ready.
This picks up more or less right where it left off.
Yeah. So, if you can't remember from last time, Jean has gone full Phoenix. She went and rescued the X-Men from the Gladiator, kicked him off the planet. Eric the Red has run, abandoning his ideas on whatever they were. Juggernaut and Black Tom are out of the picture. Lilandra is still there, and she has laid out this whole plot that her brother wants to take over the Empire, and he wants to use the Macran crystal, which I kept calling Imcron last episode because I'm an uncultured swine. But
are you uncultured in relation to the Shi'ar culture?
Yes,
absolutely. I think it's okay.
I mean, I'm not worried about it. Like,
yeah, that's a good culture not to be cognizant of.
My Toastmasters group does not care, so I'm okay.
And Jean is acting super weird here. Talking in the third person, like, she's clearly been possessed by something, which, again, this is not the X-Men's first rodeo. They should know this, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
So she's being super weird and talking out of character in the third person stuff.
And she immediately teleports them off planets to go save this Imcran crystal from Lilandra's brother in the Empire. So she teleports everybody to Lilandra's ship. We get a cool little series of cameos where other important people on the Earth have noticed this, including like Captain Britain, Doctor Strange, all of the Hellfire Club, which
Yeah.
we're going to get real deep into the Hellfire Club later this year, and I cannot wait to talk about these outfits. We're not going to do it now because they're not in the episode very long, but ooh, these outfits.
It's a really cool piece of foreshadowing though. And Doctor
Yes.
Strange showing up is really cool too, because any nods to like the wider Marvel universe,
Mm-hmm.
I always think is pretty sweet in this show. So Xavier is kind of upset, that Jean left, which is like fine. It's like, this is no longer your story, buddy. Like you had 3 episodes to be a whiny baby.
Bye, Xavier.
Yeah, and then now it's time for you to grow up. But they arrive on the spaceship with the Crown crystal, and almost fairly immediately another spaceship arrives and stuns them all.
Yes, and they all pass out.
Yes.
And it's this random crew of people who we know as the Starjammers, and we recognize these people because we know, it's led by Corsair, who it's going to be strongly hinted at has this relationship with Cyclops somehow, but it's never going to get explained right now. But he is literally Cyclops' dad, so we're going to talk about that later. But they're there to steal the crystal back.
Yes,
Corsair
and they're not
wants
working for Decon. They're like space pirates. I think
Yes.
that Lilandra says these are space pirates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're Corsair's partner, whose name I can't remember now offhand. I think I have it written down somewhere.
Hepzibah.
Hepzibah is straight up a cat lady. Like there's no other.
Yes.
Like she's an alien cat lady, which is fine.
Yes.
But
This is X Tumblr. Like this is horny video games in space. Like
did your Twitter timeline turn into nothing but horniness last night? By the way, like what
it
the fuck happened
never
on Twitter?
it never stops. Like we talked about this in the feedback episode, but I'm getting mildly exhausted by it. Like I get
Just everybody wants to talk about how horny everybody else is. We're all horny. We don't have to talk about it all the time.
Is literally the only subject in games Twitter is how horny you are, who's horny for who's horny and out. Like it's become abstract. Like it doesn't even have anything to do with sex.
No, it's
it's
just like
it's
this
just
weird attraction thing. It's just bizarre.
I don't even know if it's attraction. It's almost like it's lost all moorings of its tie to meaning. Like it's just like it's almost like it's become like meme status where it's not even doesn't even have like a meaning to it.
Yeah,
like what does it
no
mean if this character is attracted to it, or does it mean that what actions do they want to do because of that? There's no answer. It's just like this thing is horny. This is horny for that. Like it's really weird. It's lost all meaningness, which sucks because like I generally think horniness is good and I like sex and stuff, and I don't want it to be like destroyed through through repetition.
Yeah, you don't want a minion meme about horny robot video game people. Like I don't want it to get to that point. I don't want to see this on Facebook.
It's not going to lit up, man. It's part and parcel with like the good guys winning as far as games culture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think where it's like one of the things you have to take along with the good guys is that they love talking about how horny video games are and how much this anime girl wants to fuck this anime girl. And you just have to, it's just something you get comes with the territory.
Wait. Are you telling me anime girls fuck?
I don't think they do. I think they just get abstractly horny for each other, and then
okay. Well,
in your mind, yeah, it's there's no fucking that happens. It's like it's all build up and no money shot. Like it is a state of continuous edging. It's that finally Edge magazine makes sense. Like it's
But what I was going to say about Hepzibah is that she's a cat lady from space, and she purrs and makes cat noises throughout her entire conversation. It's really
weird.
It's
and
really distracting.
The X-Men get into a fight with them, and the X-Men get their fucking asses kicked here, which is like why the Starjammers are scrubs. But the Rogue whips Hepzibah's tail around when they're fighting, and the reason they get, we find out why they get knocked out, but she whips Hepzibah around by her tail, and Hepzibah makes this cat scream noise. And if I knew how to make GIFs, like this would also be a really good GIF, because I bet you it can loop perfectly. Just like whipping this cat around by its tail, and the cat just going like, like just like a person making cat noises.
If you're a young GIF maker that likes getting paid in likes and retweets on Twitter, like hit us up. We have a job for you.
Young GIF maker. So Corsair at this point is like, hey, I'm not fighting Shi'ar, I'm fighting humans. Calibrate the stun ray to humans, even though it will knock me out.
Yeah.
And Cyclops is about to fuck him up and stop him from this, but Jean reads his mind, finds out he's Cyclops' dad, says, Cyclops, I can't I can't tell you why, but don't kill him. It's like, I don't know, Cyclops is just going to straight up like murder him or something, but Jean feels necessary to stop him for some reason.
Which is weird because, and this hasn't been established or anything, but I think in the comic books, like he can't, like Cyclops' beams or whatever don't work on his dad, right? Like I know they don't work on Havoc.
That's not even in the comics. It literally happened last episode with Banshee and Black Tom.
Oh yeah, that's right. The powers totally canceled out each other because they're related. You're absolutely right.
Just established it.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's not. You don't have to be sorry. It's just the show being sloppy because like you've established this many times over. That's a weird thing anyway. Like the powers don't work on your family thing. I don't know what that adds to how that makes sense genetically, and I don't know. It's silly. Like how would Black Tom, like Black Tom's energy not working on Banshee, like it's just energy, but Banshee makes noise. So does like Black Tom, the noise doesn't work.
I just can't hear my brother speak. That's all it is.
Yeah. How is that? Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Corsair takes Cyclops hostage at this point.
Yeah, so he's like threatening because at some point I think his mask gets popped off or something. So he's like he's threatening the X-Men with Cyclops' beams, which is pretty funny.
Yes.
We briefly go over to meet Gladiator and Eric the Red, who are going to see McCann, who is really pissed about their handling of this whole situation, which,
Eric the Red fucked up. Like,
yeah, because Eric the Red was not, I mean, choose your workers, guy. Like, you're the one that gave him responsibility for this.
Yeah.
Back to Corsair, his whole plan is to trade the crystal for, quote, half the Empire.
Half the Empire's treasury.
Like
specifically,
not
like
even half the Empire.
Yeah. So and the Emperor goes, okay. But then immediately says, when they show up, Gladiator, kill them once we have the crystal, which like this feel like Gladiator wouldn't do that. Like Gladiator has to believe his cause is just or whatever. He has like belief-based powers, but this isn't quite comic Gladiator, I feel like. So it's not that interesting when a villain makes an agreement and then immediately just says, well, just kill him. Like it would benefit from being a little lawful evil as opposed to chaotic evil, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like he tried to trick him or got him, I obeyed the letter of the law, here's half of my treasury, but you're trapped in here forever until you die, something like that. Like there'd be a more clever way than just like, we're just going to betray you.
Unfortunately, DeCann is basing his entire emperor status on the Trump presidency of 2016, 2017.
That's true.
So he's just, whatever I want to do it.
I hope that Trump doesn't get a hold of the Macron crystal and go into a rock dimension.
Do we have to is there healthcare in the rock dimension? What is the? Probably not. Like I know the answer to that, but I mean, it could be better.
I will give Trump rock power as if Steve Bannon dies in jail. So we can make a deal.
Yeah. So yeah, Corsair at this point explains his entire history to Cyclops, basically saying like, I was kidnapped by these people. They killed my wife. I have since escaped. They enslaved me. I escaped. I found my crew, and I'm actually going over there to use this to try to kill this dude.
Yeah.
So he's not actually
It's not. I want to try to kill him. It's I'm going to give you to them as well, and this is going to get you close, and you're going to kill him.
You're going to kill him exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like X-Men just kind of waiting around, not doing anything for a long time.
For the next 2 episodes. The next episode is all waiting, dude.
Man, it's like it's really bad.
Yeah, I like these episodes, but the X-Men don't do a lot in them. Like
compared to the last 3 where like they were doing shit all the time.
And what it is that all the X-Men didn't need to come. They get an excuse to leave Jubilee and Storm on the ground or whatever, but like this should have just been Phoenix and Scott.
I would have liked this if it was just Phoenix and Scott, actually. And like leave the X-Men to do some like go back to them worrying.
Disaster relief on Earth.
There you go.
Like when tornadoes start destroying things. Yeah, like that would have been awesome. Just show them in like cutscenes helping out. It's pretty silly.
Or taking the opportunity to break into the federal mint, whichever.
just do some sport government break-in.
Sport terrorism.
Yeah. So and Cyclops at this point, for no good reasons, is like saying no, just because he's being a contrarian baby. He's like, I don't know if we should do that. And it's like, well, this guy is evil. Like, just kill the Khan. But he doesn't want to do it. But eventually he agrees. Team's waiting around, as we said. Jean needs a rest because teleporting everybody took a lot out of her.
Yeah.
And Corsair and Cyclops have a conversation, and there's actually a really good touch in this where like Corsair talks about his past. He's like, I had this son, I had these two kids, but I lost touch with them when I was on Earth. I'd recognize them because they had their mother's eyes. And it's like, obviously we know that Cyclops is his son, but he can't see Cyclops' eyes because Cyclops is a mutant. So it's that, I think that's nice.
And Jean has already like determined what has happened. Like she read everybody's mind without their permission because she is Xavier's #1 student.
Yeah.
And just like ripped all this, private personal knowledge out of their heads and have just figured it out, but has not had a chance to tell Cyclops yet.
I don't know why she would. Like, I mean, maybe she will eventually, but I don't understand what the advantage is in keeping this from him.
This happens in the comics too, where she doesn't tell him for a while, and like why wouldn't you just? It's a very quick conversation. Like it's an emotional conversation, granted, but it's a pretty quick. Hey, that dude's your dad. I'd read his mind.
So the idea being, I think, again, with the best will in the world, is the idea that if he knew that, he'd be distracted, he wouldn't be able to do the mission. But he's already reluctant to do the mission. Like if you told him, like, hey, this is your dad, he would, like, the big issue is he doesn't necessarily trust Corsair. He doesn't want to go along with this. But if he knew he was his dad, maybe he would trust him. So they would take, they're just killing time anyway. They would take their half hour to like reconcile a little bit, do the mission together as father and son, and then, spend years in therapy.
Yeah.
And get over it. So it's a weird thing. And it seems very cruel. I mean, I guess it's the Phoenix Force not understanding human emotions, maybe.
Yeah, because this is technically the Phoenix doing all of this, puppeteering of Jean and not vice versa. So
yeah,
there is something to be said for that. We get like Cyclops does it, like he goes over there, and basically a fight breaks out, like you would imagine has to happen. Like I think Jean teleports the team, everybody, including the Starjammers, over to where Cyclops is with the Emperor. And then like shit just starts breaking loose. Corsair starts beating up on the Emperor, but turns out it's just a shapeshifter guy. Whoops.
Yep, it's one of the Imperial guards.
Rogue punches the shit out of Gladiator, which I thought was awesome. Like I really like that for some reason. Like she just like clocks that dude. It's really good.
Yep.
We have to mention that Beast is quoting Ralph Waldo Emerson in the middle of a fucking fight, right? Because
because Beast is he has one character trait. Like he's super one-dimensional and doesn't even X-Men 3, like when we eventually cover that, I feel like there's parts where Beast kind of like beasts out and gets angry and stuff, but they just make like there's no sense of gravity if you're just constantly using everything to show off your fucking MFA.
It's just I don't it's been a long time since I've run across a dude that actually like quotes things in the middle of a conversation, and it's been so long that I don't remember. Like I remember it being okay, kind of, but I'm thinking at the time I thought it was fucking miserable because, like, why would you do like it? Just, oh man, I don't know. It's like people quoting, like if all you do is quoting movies back and forth with each other. Like I'm gonna say the words to an Adam Sandler movie to you, and you're going to laugh. Like I don't really dig that either.
Yeah, so. Yeah, like Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hey, do you remember this? Yeah,
yeah. Here's a quote. That's it. And like lest anybody call me a hypocrite because there is something hypocritical about it. Like I, like talk about Simpsons stuff a lot. Like me and Cole quote Simpsons. Like Simpsons shows up for me, but it's also I don't. There's more to it, and the context is not just like, hey, some of my friends are gonna die. I need to show off.
Yeah,
they're like jokes, and Beast is never making jokes. He's just kind of like
showing off.
Yeah, just kind of showing off, and it sucks.
Also, I'll just put that out here. I'm a hypocrite, everybody. Like I'll say things and I try to live up to it, and I don't sometimes. So like, I don't care. Like come with me to the promised land where you can admit things that are bad about yourself and live with them. It's so good over 100%,
here. Yeah, as opposed to half the internet in which like 1 ounce of hypocrisy somehow invalidates everything someone has ever stood for or talked about, and that's it for them. So every conversation, every emotional outlook is an equation, and if you can disprove that equation, you disprove that entire person, and now you don't have to listen to them. Ugh.
The internet sucks, except for the Slack. Go hang out on the Duckfeed Slack. It's not like that at all.
Yeah, people we like don't let people do that kind of shit. I mean, we do. People pull that kind of stuff, but they get shut down.
Yeah. The X-Men escape from the fight. Dekin was never there with the crystal, but as they're trying to leave, because they're getting kind of shut down by the whatchamacallit, they run into Dekin with the crystal, and we don't get there yet, but like Jean tries to go off Phoenix on him, it doesn't happen, and then everyone gets pulled into the crystal, including Dekin, where he is ruling Crystal World.
He has a crystal universe that he gets to own.
Yeah.
Like the end of Dishonored 2. Like,
Spoilers.
um,
This is this is going to be pretty bad. This leads us. This is a to be continued. So we're going to go right into part 5 from here.
Yes.
Man, like they're not slowing down, Gary.
It happens really quickly. It's the end of this last episode, I think, is good. The stuff with the Starjammers is pretty cool. I don't think their plan is stupid. I like that how complicated it is that like these guys are not bad guys either. They're good guys that have kind of a different perspective, the X-Men. Like there's stuff to like about it. Like I still kind of like these episodes. It just this next episode is full of waiting in the rock realm in a way that like doesn't seem like it should have made it on TV, especially with how breathless the first 4 episodes were. To get to an episode that's a real hurry up and wait situation.
Yep.
For most of it. So we're talking about XM307, the Phoenix Saga Part 5, Child of Light. Original air date September 9th, 1994. D'Ken gets pulled into the Macran crystal and becomes one with the universe inside it. Now with unlimited power, D'Ken has become an unstoppable force. With the help of the Starjammers, the X-Men hold nothing back in a fight to defeat D'Ken. Overpowered by their foe, the X-Men face their final moments, but are saved by Jean and the Phoenix. Which more or less happens.
Yeah, this is all pretty good. I would have liked to see that D'Ken gets pulled into the Macran crystal and exposes himself to the universe inside of it.
Yeah.
But he can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have for everything, and we're just dealing with some TV guide summaries here.
So the Macran crystal turns, now that he's inside the rock realm, he turns into like I think a specific He-Man. Like I think there's like Christor or whatever, who is this weird rock He-Man that he looks just like.
Gary, I had like the skeleton. I had the He-Man castle. I had all the figurines. Like I remember watching the show, but I just have blocked all of those memories. I don't remember. I don't know a single thing besides He-Man, Skeletor. There was a tiger, maybe, and She-Ra. Like I think that's all I got. Was there a ghost? There was a ghost in He-Man, right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I think you're probably referring to Orko. But there's actually is like a weird like glow in the dark like glow skull or something like that, who is a cool skeleton
Slimer,
ghost.
right?
Yeah, he eats hot dogs. The looking through old He-Man action figures is pretty fun because they are bad and weird. So you run into weird, like this guy's got a mosquito for a head, like just weird shit. And those toys all had like crazy action features. So the guy who has the mosquito for a head has a little bulb on the back. You could like make him squirt water that you could pretend was blood.
Oh, this is
things
some
like
really
that,
good, like tag yourself material right here.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Ooh, these are none of these are great.
It's pretty. They're pretty weird. They're pretty strange. I really want to get a glow skull figure because now that I'm all skeleton obsessed, like a glowing skeleton He-Man is appealing to me. And there's also Mudlock or Mudulok or whatever, which is that weird ant thing where it was like a 27 piece action figure that you could reconfigure in any way you want. That thing owned. There's a bunch of cool He-Man, like a bunch of cool He-Man. He-Man's on a trial here.
Toys were so great when we were young.
Yeah, exactly. Things I'm nostalgic for are good, but things that kids are nostalgic for now suck. Actually, toys that kids play with now are cool too. Like I think that toys in general are I'm pretty positive on toys. I don't really get the YouTube heroes ones where people buy toys of their favorite Minecraft characters or YouTube players. I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I think Minecraft players are pretty stupid too. Sorry, Minecraft people. Like I don't get it.
The whole like youth Minecraft, the way that like guys playing Minecraft, like British guys playing Minecraft, has become the #1 children's show sensation. I don't get it all. Like I want to watch a documentary on the development of that because it's really mind-boggling to me. It's true. It's like 100% a thing. When people I know who have kids, like when these YouTube people keep Breaking Bad, like even before JonTron and all that stuff, like there's some Minecraft YouTube guy who came out as a child molester. He didn't come out, like he didn't like tearfully at a podium to be like, but it came out. And I do remember just like telling my friends with kids and being like, hey, avoid this guy, like check your kid's subscription history and make sure they're not like watching this dude. But how can you tell them apart? There's like 10,000 of them. They all just have like nonsense names and they all just do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's miserable. Like I remember when I first got into YouTube was around Dark Souls, and like it was just like all I wanted was like Dark Souls, and it made me feel very strange that there were so many people like that had hundreds of thousands of people subscribed to them, and they were just like yelling about video games.
Yeah,
and to have that pointed in the direction of like an impressionable young kid just terrifies me. I had a conversation with my sister the other day. I'm like, look, like as my nephew's name is Thurston, which is a rad ass name. But it's not unusual. It was pretty
You
unusual.
mean is it THRISTIN
No. I
Okay.
wish. He would be the ultimate video game horny man.
Yeah, he's gonna get hired by Vice immediately.
Austin Walker, come employ my nephew. He's 5 and likes to fuck robots. But yeah, like, hey, before you put him on YouTube, like, let me know. Like, go check these dudes out. Anyway,
it's one of those things too. When like I hate, this is the old man cast of Duckfeed, but and I hate being like kids these days. But one of the things that is true is that when people make the argument like, oh, there were problematic, like when we were young, there could be white supremacists that show up, and it's like, yeah, but they didn't end up on TV. Like the fact that YouTube is the new TV for kids is like troubling. Like it's why it matters that like JonTron is a white supremacist. Like, kids, he's a really popular channel with kids. He screams at video games for a living, and the target audience for that is like 17-year-olds. And but little kids watch it too. 17-year-olds get it. Like they can make their own decisions about white supramacy, I guess. But like
probably not great ones though.
It's not great. Like it's still not super into it happening. But like like you run into like 11 and 12-year-olds. It's like we didn't have that problem because of the lack of democratizing of information. Not everybody could get in front of me with stuff. Like I might run into someone at the playground who was like, "Hey kids, white supremacy." But I wasn't going to like turn on the TV and be like Mexican enclaves, or we're going to show up in between fucking Thundercats, It's a real bummer. Like I have no idea how we fix that. I was joking about it with Jim Crawford with Frog Corrections Jim about doing Duckling Feed, and just me and Cole putting on the character of like screaming YouTubers, literally just to like indoctrinate kids into social justice shit. Like I will play through the
Minecraft Adventure Story or whatever.
Yeah, story mode Minecraft or like Spooky's House at Jump Scares, and like put on I'll shave my beard, I put on some makeup to make me look younger, maybe dye a cool like mohawk into my hair, and then just pretend to scream at Slender the Arrival, and then just every once in a while just be like, huh, women are people too. And then just like make jokes, and scream some more, and then just get kids to watch just to do a service for the new generation.
Do you know what's fun about Slender Man? He pays women the same amount that he pays men.
Yeah, he doesn't scare them 70% less.
He scares them the same amount of jump scares across both genders. In fact, there's more than 2 genders, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Slender Man scares them all. It's a spectrum, people. I'm so scared.
You know what's not scary? People go into the bathroom of their choice.
Yeah.
This is a great idea.
Scary,
we might have to cut all of that out so you can save this idea. We're already getting a lot of questions on the Venture Brothers podcast. Like, this is going to be
not nearly as scary as House Bill 203, which prevents tell your parents.
Talk to your mommy and daddy about Trump today.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get off of white racist supremacy and get into some bird racist supremacy.
Yes.
So I got a little ahead. Dekin kind of powers himself up and goes into the crystal. Jean turns into a phoenix. I thought they all got sucked in then, but it doesn't happen. There's a little bit of like back and forth where she teleports everybody back to the Starjammer ship, then teleports them back, and then everyone gets sucked into the crystal then, and that's when shit starts going crazy.
Yes. We switch to and everything's going bad on Earth, like it's causing natural disasters and stuff. Why, I don't necessarily know.
Yeah, I don't really understand this.
Yeah, like why him living inside a crystal prison like makes Earth go bad. It seems like this feels like the cheap way to do this, because like if he had all this power, having him arrive on Earth would have made sense to me.
Yeah, give me the floating Imcron crystal in the sky. Like, don't just have this happen on a spaceship. Like, give me a millions of miles away. Yeah.
Like, why does he want this? Like, it doesn't seem like ruling over Rock Realm would be good. So I don't understand.
This is all weird, but we do see I like the animation here. Like we see a cool whatchamacallit, like a cool solar eclipse, so that's like the sun is blacked out.
Super Dark Soulsy.
Xavier goes into like his routine of, oh shit, like we're all gonna die unless the X-Men can save us. Gambit immediately tries making out with Rogue because fuck it, all bets are off.
Yeah, he's like, if we gonna die, shit, we gonna die together. And then like they fall. There's like an earthquake or something, and he falls on top of her.
Yeah.
And he's like, if this is death, then I don't want to live, or something like that. Like,
Jesus, Gambit.
It's very gross. Like getting a minor amount of front rub on her back porch. Like it is it's gross.
Do you think Gambit can go 2 minutes without thinking about getting his dick wet? Like do
you think that that statistic about how men think about sex every like 2 minutes, which even when I was young I was like, that's bullshit. Like I'm 13, I've never been hornier, and I never will be hornier than I am right now, and I don't think about sex every 2 minutes. I think it just Gambit was only pulled for that.
This is the Spiders George thing from Tumblr, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Not every person it's like not an average 8 spiders per night. It's one guy that does 8,000.
Yeah, exactly. He just sucks them all in, you know. So Gambit is the guy who thinks about sex literally nonstop. Specifically sex with Rogue, and specifically in a way that will remove him of his powers and put him in a coma. Maybe Gambit just really wants to be in a coma. Like, I don't know if we put that together, but like maybe we've been thinking about this all wrong. Like, he doesn't really want to nut. He just wants to go into a coma because, like, I don't know, maybe Gambit's super depressed, or maybe he saw $1 Million Baby and thought it was dignified and good.
We talked about whether or not making out with Rogue, or I don't think we said Rogue, or making out with somebody or having sex with somebody was worth going into a coma. But we didn't talk about Gambit actually wanting to be in a coma. It seems like that's probably something Beast does on the side, right? Like Beast probably is trying to make some extra money. He's like, I'll put you in a coma for a couple of weeks, no big deal. Like
I know a guy.
Yeah, I'll send you back in time for $20 million. Like whatever the fuck you want.
I can do X-Men shit. Yeah, we did talk about not being worth going into a coma, but I think we were arguing from the perspective that going into a coma was bad. I feel like Gambit's alien mind, like all bets are off.
True.
You know?
Yeah, I guess it's true. Gambit.
Like, you need to stop making assumptions about Gambit and what his ultimate goals are, other than the fact that it's sex. But why? I don't think he necessarily feels it the same way we do. You know,
he feels it just way more apparently.
Yeah. Maybe it's awesome. Like maybe it's like super sex for Gambit.
We've been watching this show on Netflix called Chef's Table about these like super fancy chefs and like all of the stuff that they do to make themselves super fancy. And it's invariably like, oh, this person puts emotion in the plate, and you know they just show these people like pouring over this one particular plate, and it's like, oh, you just taste their hopes and their dreams. And I'm like, can I just get a fucking cheeseburger over here? But like, Gambit definitely seems like he's the chef of perverted sexual acts at this point. Like he's just got that palate that I don't have. yeah there's never any like regular weekday sex with Gambit. No, not at all. Anyway,
yes,
so all of the X-Men, or not all of the X-Men, most of the X-Men are in this crystal. Like giant Dekin in his He-Man form shows up and starts like yelling at everybody about, I don't know, the MRA or something, who knows. There's some shots of like the Shi'ar Empire, and like all of the people have like giant spiders on their chest. Did you notice this? Like it's just a real weird costume design that I don't understand.
There's a weird bugness to the Shi'ar in general between their ships and helmets and spider chests that I don't really understand. It's like they don't really know how to draw aliens or make them seem alien.
Yeah.
And so we switch back to Dekan. This is where he's like, your foolishness makes you fools.
Good
like
job.
He says something real stupid. And again, though, I don't know what he's getting out of this. I have no idea.
He's really just like spouting out, and he's just being a dick and yelling at people. Like there's nothing that he's doing here, like for any purpose that I can understand.
For this plot to make sense, he would need to have a reason to want to get revenge on the X-Men. You know, like, you're trapped in my dimension, I'm going to torture you or beat you up. But like, he just met them.
Yeah,
like they were never part of his plan. Like he accidentally like his idiot henchman accidentally abducted them. You know, why do you give a shit about the X-Men, Ken? Like, this is nonsense. He zaps Lilandra, and Cyclops is like, "There's nothing we can do."
Yeah, I love how Cyclops just folds. It's like Bitman Cyclops is like, "Fuck it, I'm out."
Yeah, they just, you know, we can't fight a big rock guy.
Yeah.
So we go back to Earth where everything's going to shit, and we get to see like the different superheroes saving like other parts of Earth, which is super cool. Like we get Alpha Flight again. Not the X-Men. The X-Men who are still on Earth are just like hanging out. You know, like Gambit and Rogue are dry humping.
Mm-hmm. Storm is presumably helping, but I don't think we ever see her in the episode. Like, I don't think we
She
have a
does.
flashback.
There's like
to
a
her.
bridge collapsing, and she just keeps shooting fog at it. Like it's just like,
Cars just immediately just falling into the Hudson Bay because she's fogged the whole thing.
Perhaps the fog will calm this bridge. No, that's not how it works.
I was taught that fog could heal all wounds. They can't, motherfucker. Take me to the hospital.
Means. But we get cool cameos here. We get Alpha Flight again, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
War Machine shows up,
Yeah.
which is like just dates this to 1994 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Sunspot shows up, which I always love when Sunspot shows up, protecting Japan. We show Spider-Man for a second,
Yeah.
which again, pretty cool. And then we show Minari, Storm's son. So in case you missed that guy, he's evacuating people
I didn't even know him
on a beach. Yeah.
The
So
guy with
he's
either
back.
the Michael Jordan jersey or the David Beckham jersey. No, we haven't
Yes.
decided on what it is yet.
Yep.
So yeah, we go back into the crystal, and like all of our Shi'ar dudes are in there, like the gladiators in there. Everyone's trying to fight Dekin at this point.
Well, this is when he starts summoning like the rock golems. Like he starts showing up. He starts making miniature Dekans for them to fight.
Yes, how could I forget about the minikins, as I like to call them?
Yeah, and they're his face. He just makes little rock versions of himself to attack. Like this, as far as supervillains the X-Men have faced, other than the fact that it's causing the world to be destroyed, it's so abstract. Like he just can shoot beams and create rock men, which like that's nothing.
It's really bizarre that Cyclops has like lost all hope, because I mean he really should just be laughing all of us off right now. Like, what the fuck are you doing? This doesn't make any sense.
You can handle this, bro. But instead, like, they just act like nothing, So anyway, Dad, what happens
so
here?
Dekin and finally gets a hold of Alondra and is about to kill her, and that's when the Phoenix, who Jean has kind of been out of the fight at this point, because every time she really uses her Phoenix Force, she kind of like loses it for a while. So she's finally powered back up a little bit, and she goes and like tells everybody goodbye. She stops Dekin from killing Alondra and like has this mental conversation with all the X-Men and like basically downloads their love. Like, I don't know. I don't know what, like, they do this weird like X-Men tree thing where all of the people like send their feelings, and they do this in the comics too. Like, this is a thing that happens in the comics. I think it works a lot better on the page than it does in the cartoon.
It's very weird. It looks like how like the big stack of Kefkas you fight at the end of Final Fantasy VI.
Sure.
Like all the weird muscle men that are stuck together, or like the Avengers butter statue that's at the end of Avengers. You know what I'm talking about, right? There's that.
The one that they kind of spiral around during the first movie. Yeah, I know exactly.
What if all the Avengers were carved out of butter?
Yeah,
that they do. Like, it's definitely butter. It's like that. It's like this little like
loves that shit, huh?
It's just this. It's all the she downloaded their love. It's her kind of remembering them all. Every once in a while, their faces get superimposed on the Phoenix bird. Like, this gets real abstract and trippy in a way the show can't quite keep up with.
No,
I think
this is like pure unadulterated Claremont, and like the cartoon cannot keep up with that at all. Yeah. But she sacrifices herself to like protect the universe from this crystal. So like she's basically giving up her Phoenix Force and her being. Like, she's sacrificing her life so that this dude and this crystal can't harm anything.
Yes. Yep. So the X-Men are super sad about this, obviously, because they lost their teammate. We go back to Earth. Xavier and Alondra are making out because, again, they're Mzadis.
Yeah. And they're having the conversation that like, I can't leave because I have the X-Men. Well, I can't leave because I'm the goddamn emperor of a space station. Of a space station.
You have like 7 people you give cars to a lot. I have an entire alien race that I'm in charge of.
Xavier, they're all adults except Jubilee, and she's more of an adult than Gambit. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, Gambit is a ward of the state. You don't have to worry about him anymore. Gambit, no, get no more porridge.
We have this, since the Starjammers are still on Earth, Corsair and Cyclops have like this moment together where they're kind of bonding. But unfortunately, it's not what you want them to have. They don't actually have the conversation. Like, they don't find out that they're actually related to one another just yet, which is a bummer.
And that'll happen later, I think. I'm pretty sure. It might even happen this season, actually. But that reveal happens.
I kind of feel like that happens in the Dark Phoenix Saga at some point, but I might be
wrong. Yeah. There's a weird thing. So it's pretty much like this is all fallout from the thing, like from the Phoenix sacrificing herself. Everything is fine now. Beast quotes Emily Dickinson, helps nobody.
Thanks, Beast.
Scott is super upset, and Xavier like pretty much says like, hey, her name's Phoenix. It's like the Phoenixes are known for like literally one thing, dude.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Haven't you read any Harry Potter? Like, come on.
Yeah, she'll be back, bro. And she comes back really soon. It's much slower in the comics.
Yeah, she's gone for a while in the comics. Like, isn't she gone long enough to for him to remarry a woman or to marry a woman that looks exactly like her?
Yep. He really. There's something about I think redheads are different in the Marvel universe than they are in real life.
They got to be,
right? Because in the feedback, people are like, "Oh, what does Wolverine see in redheads?" And we were talking about maybe he's just never seen one before. Like Cyclops is exclusively redheads.
Yep.
Wolverine is like, there's got to be some kind of allure to them, or what's way more likely is just like Claremont had a mega boner for redheads. And this is just him writing it into his universe,
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, like we're kind of clowning on it. The last episode is really poorly paced, where like nobody does anything and there are rock monsters just to give them something to do. But when I was a kid, it was like a big deal that Jean died.
Yeah,
like I was just like, oh man,
main character of the X-Men. Like they established right at the beginning that they're willing to kill off at least a character that they made up and morph. But like you kind of just assume that the X-Men are mainstays. Like you don't think that Jean Grey is going to die. And all this cosmic shit just expanded the universe in my mind to a point that I was very much into. Like now looking at it, I'm kind of put off by the Shi'ar, but like back then I was like, holy shit, like they're in fucking space. Like this is great.
Yeah.
This is a combination of all my favorite shit right now.
And the stuff with the weird X-Men like all together, the butter statue, and the stuff with the different X-Men's facings showing up, like where she's downloading their love.
Mm-hmm.
I like if this, again, it visually can't quite keep up with that, but I do think it's kind of good and sweet, like as a thing, like this kind of becoming this like symbolic sacrifice thing. It's just the visuals can't keep up with it.
Yeah, Link getting all three pieces of the Triforce is kind of trite, but it's also very fucking cool and affecting. Like, right? Like,
yeah.
This is kind of like that. Like, I made the joke about downloading their love, but it's like I think she even says like their wisdom, their courage, their maybe not humanity, their mutanity. I don't know what you would call that. But like all of their goodness, like, and it helped using that to like increase her power so that she can sacrifice herself in a worthwhile fashion. Is like that's a powerful moment. It's a powerful moment in the comics, like way back when. So.
It's a real Care Bear stare moment, that kind of works.
It really is. The fucking Care Bears. Hey, Gary, let's do a Care Bears podcast, right?
Oh, jeez. Or like Care Bears, or like the end of Earthbound, where it's like everybody, everybody believe, everybody work together. Power of friendship is an important theme, kind of thing. But it works pretty well, and again works because I was 14.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When this came out, and it's like it was a big deal. I wish it was paced better. I wish the first 4 episodes were a little bit more chill, and the last episode had more stuff happening in it. And it's really hard not to play Monday morning quarterback and be like, there's 1,000 different ways this ending thing could be a little bit less like ridiculous. Could be a little bit more like action could happen in it.
But you have to kind of put yourself back then too, right? Like they're dealing with exactly what they're dealing with. They definitely wanted to put this in the show, but are limited by a writer budget, an animation budget, and all this other stuff. And they've really like, as much as I said that in the last episode that the animation is kind of poor comparatively to the first 2 seasons, and I think it is, like it's still like they're still throwing everything at the screen. Like they're it's not for lack of trying. Like I just don't think they pull it off very well. But like they are really. Like this whole alien stuff, like an alien world, rock monsters, like it may not be great, but at least they're putting the work in. So like that's something that I'm going to appreciate, because not everything holds up for 20 years. Most things don't hold up for that long. So if you can have something that you can get any kind of value out of and that you put the work in, that's a good thing to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it is. It's pretty impressive. It's also like the first time the cartoon has tried to do anything like this, and it's so wobbly it barely holds together, but it is 5 episodes of this thing that form a relatively cohesive story. That's impressive too. And I like the idea of there being more kind of 2-parters and kind of more sophisticated storytelling here, even though if I recall the show never gets great at it. Like Dark Phoenix is cooler, but it might be just individual things that happen in it are cooler more than it holding together better.
Mm-hmm. I like it. It's
So,
good.
yeah, I like it a lot.
I'm really excited to get into the Dark Phoenix Saga because I don't really have a good memory of this from me being a kid. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that and seeing exactly how it is and how it holds up.
yeah, and I like Dazzler a lot. So for
Dazzler is
people
super
who
cool.
people who missed them, character spotlights will come back. Sorry those were gone. It's just we actually wrapped this up just right on time. So thank you guys very much for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
If you like this show, ratings and reviews are always helpful.
Yep.
Telling people about it, blogging about it, tweeting about it, all those things. We see when you do that, and it's very nice. And then the number one thing you can do to support the network is go to patreon.com/DuckFeed.tv and throw us a couple bucks a month. Gives you access to a lot of cool stuff, episodes a day early, and episode to our Slack channel, or access to our Slack channel, which is a good, fun place.
If you want to keep up with the episode, go to daysoffuturecast.com/schedule, and that'll show you when the episodes are coming out and what episodes of the TV show we're covering on the episode of the podcast. The next 2 episodes are No Mutant is an Island and Obsession. For those of you at home trying to keep up, the episode order this season is whack. So I have done some research to get what they originally envisioned all of the episodes to come out. So, for example, in this season, we're going to be covering the episode Long Shot, which actually didn't air until like season 4 or 5, but should have aired in here. But because of the animation problems and them sending the episode back and forth so many times, it got delayed. According to my research and according to me talking to some people that have also done research, the order that we're going by is pretty much as close as possible as we can get it. So definitely check that out. It doesn't necessarily follow the DVDs. It doesn't necessarily follow like the tvdb.org or whatever. So like go check that out so you can keep up with this.
Yeah.
And you can also find contact information for me and Gary, other shows on the network, and all of that business.
Yeah, it's all your one-stop shop.
Yep. Thank you for listening, and good night. We'll talk to you later.
Good night.